If necessity is the mother of invention, more and more South Africans are certainly learning that a passion project or a side hustle can produce a decent supplementary income. A study by Henley Business School has found that more than a quarter of people surveyed in that study sustain themselves via their passion projects. Online student crowdfunding platform Feenix says the spirit of entrepreneurship must be encouraged if South Africa is to adopt a more resilient economic model. According to the survey, many university students that use the platform to raise funds for their studies aspire to own their businesses or in fact already do so. The data indicated that the world of formal employment in the future could be quite different from what we're used to now. Mabel Mnensa is the marketing manager of Feenix. She joins us now via our video link in Cape Town, Skype to be more precise. Mabel, great to have you on the AM Report. Thanks so much for making time to chat to us. Let's begin with the context for this very incredibly interesting chat. Speak to us about Feenix, the work that you do, and how it's changed during the lockdown period, if it has.
Hi, Ayanda. Thank you for having me. So Feenix is a non-profit organization. We use the power of crowdfunding to connect students with communities that can help them in raising money so that they can pay off their student debt. So during lockdown, one of the things that we had to change is that we found that many students were actually feeling stranded and felt stressed out that they were going to miss out or drop out because of the digital divide. We all know about the reality that many students, or South Africa is such an unequal society, so many students do not have access to be able to do online learning. So that was one of the things that we did learn. But we also saw that students, by their nature, are quite entrepreneurial. And during the lockdown, they somehow found ways to start side hustles to supplement their studies somehow. And so also just to say, Feenix also, we started a Cap the Gap campaign that was separate to our normal operations, where we asked people to come in, and we were able to raise up to 3 million rand, over 3 million rand, to help over 403 students all over the country with laptops, data, and food vouchers.
You know, I always say you're incredibly lucky if your main job is, in fact, your passion. For most people in the world, and probably in the country too, your passion has to be your side hustle. Speak to us about how some people are using this nonetheless to make the ends meet.
Yeah, so during lockdown, many people had more time to do their hobbies or their side projects. And then, because of the time they gave to it, they were able to make it sustainable. And some people they were able to make money off of this. And in our economic climate right now, where things are so uncertain, this entrepreneurial mindset is very important, because people need to think out of the box and to find ways of supplementing their income. And you never know, your side hustle might lead to something more lucrative.
But Mabel, how do you know if your side hustle is one of those that can make you money? You know, by the very nature of a passion project, you're incredibly biased, you're incredibly invested, and in most instances, that clouds your judgment about the commercial benefits in what you're passionate about. How do people ascertain whether or not, a side hustle is something that could genuinely help you, supplement your income, especially during these tough economic times?
I think that's why it's important that it's a side hustle, it's not your main. So you've got that liberty in which you can play around a bit and try and figure out if this will make money. There's not that pressure, like not everything is on the side hustle. So I think that's the most important thing. And then while you're working on it, and then you figure out like, oh, there is demand for this. And also I believe that if you start with doing something that you're passionate about, when you start there, then you're more likely to have that succeed, because it's fueled by your passion. I really believe that having the passion in the first place is actually going to make it work out. Another thing is about hard work and putting your all into it, or putting what you can into it, and then you never know. I believe so.
Yeah.
Because, okay, for example, I did a BA degree and an arts degree, and my mom did not understand what studying literature would do for me. But somehow that has helped me in what I do for work, and also it helps with my it helps with my own side hustles.
Absolutely. Well, shout out to the BA students. I'm one of them myself after a lot of fighting and arguing at home. But you should also be familiar with this then. You know, traditionally speaking, people understand entrepreneurship as either owning a business and running one. Increasingly, we're learning, though, that, in fact, you yourself can be a business and a brand. Speak to us a bit more about that and whether young people in particular are taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. So to have it, sorry, my voice. Having an entrepreneurial mindset could also help you when you're in the work you do, like the way you approach problems. Like, for example, like we work in a non-profit organization. We don't have that much money, so you have to think out the box. So having that entrepreneurial mindset in the workspace does help. And with students, like for them to see themselves as a brand, which is one of the things that we teach them at Feenix. They need to come here with an entrepreneurial mindset because they create that profile. They create that brand. They're responsible for how they are seen by the world. And then they have to take that brand and approach people and try and get that money. And on top of that, we have a hustle school. So for more activities that you do, we give you more points and you've got more chance of getting funding when corporates approach us. I'm interested to find out how we're faring in comparison to our neighbors on the continent. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that, at least insofar as the side hustle is concerned. Are we finding that this trend exists mainly amongst young people in South Africa? If so, are those similar trends being seen in other countries on the continent? Unfortunately, I don't have those statistics on me, but I think the main thing that we found is that like a huge component of people are interested in the side hustle. For example, in the research we did, we found that over 16% of students already had their own income or side hustle that they were working on.
And I imagine that's not different to what we've seen in the past, right? Look, lockdown changes a lot of things, but the idea of a student not only focusing on their studies is actually not necessarily new.
No, it's not new. I think one of the most beautiful stories I have seen is last year we had a student that came on, an agricultural student, and he actually was a goat farmer. He had goats and he was farming them and doing stuff so that he could get money to help him pay for his fees. Yeah. So students are very entrepreneurial. There are different little things that they're doing on the sides. And I think also with technology, social media, many students are also trying out to be influencers and trying to use leverage of their brands.
Yeah, which is something that certainly didn't exist before. Speak to us, Mabel, about some of the interesting products you've come across, though, from students, some of the initiatives that stood out for you.
I think like Goat Farmer one is one. And also one student, she teaches matric students, helps them to get ready for university. And with the lockdown, what she started WhatsApp classes. So students are able to, she conducts all her classes via WhatsApp. And WhatsApp, I mean, that's so innovative because she's aware of the data struggles that many people have. And that WhatsApp is actually quite one of the most approachable ways many people have got access to it. So she did that. And I thought that was very innovative. And the take up for it was very interesting. And even the rates that she's charging are very, very, very small. But those small amounts of money are helping her in her daily upkeep.
All right, certainly interesting work that you're doing. I wonder how the continued lockdown will affect your occupation. Thanks very much for coming through and sharing us your unique experience. Mabel Mnensa is a marketing manager at a company known as Feenix. They work with young students to try and enhance their side hustles. I wonder how many of you had side hustles whilst you're still studying. Would love to hear your experiences. At Newsroom 405 is the Twitter handle to remember.